it is time to talk about Chainsaw Man. This movie was straight up incredible. Now, to get the comparisons out of the way, is it better than the Demon Slayer movie? Honestly, as a movie, in terms of pacing and structure, it absolutely is. Like, without a doubt, it's the Reze arc is better structured for movie format as opposed to a 3-part finale that is what Demon Slayer is going to be. So, of course, it's going to feel a lot better as a movie experience. And honestly, animation-wise, too, if we're being real. Not just the CGI, the compositing and stuff like that. And even that, to a certain extent, it did a very good job of blending the two. Let's get into the actual review for Chainsaw Man. We're not going to compare it to Demon Slayer anymore. Chainsaw Man, the one thing I will, not let anybody say bad about this movie is that it didn't have... Look at this guy spinning up, bro, like a dickhead. Is that it didn't have great direction. This film was Fujimoto, the author's vision on the big screen. And in that regard, it was a perfect adaptation. It perfectly, I don't care what anybody says, captures what Fujimoto put on the pen, on the pad, on the paper, whatever you want to say, in the manga cover, in the manga volume, whatever, into an anime format. The OSTs for this movie when I heard that, I knew shit was going down when I heard that shit. But that was probably my favorite one, to be honest. A lot of this is going to be praising what Fujimoto was able to do in terms of the symbolism that he put into the actual story and then how they adapted it in the actual movie. Spoilers. We're getting into spoilers straight up. When Denji and Reze are in the pool together, and then it constantly pans up to the butterfly in the spider web slowly being consumed. You could really break that down into two ways. Number one, what's currently happening, especially within the context of the film, which on a rewatch is going to hit if you didn't know the story originally. But of Denji falling for Reze's trap, obviously that's the most apparent symbolism. But you can even take it a step further when Denji basically tells Reze that he's not going to run away with her because of the life he has. He's trapped in that web of being a devil hunter, and then later finding out that Denji says that Makima has his heart, and then Reze goes, oh, she already has you in the palm of her hand or something like that. Further, that's even further. The web, the spider was Makima, and the butterfly is really the relationship that Denji and Reze could have had he actually maybe ran away with her. Who knows? That scene in general was probably, outside of the last 40 minutes of action animation, was probably the most impactful moment for me personally. The story, it's pretty simple to understand, especially if you just look at it plainly as what it is. There's another devil. All the devils are after Chainsaw's heart because for some unknown reason yet in the anime. And all these different devils are trying to go after him. Denji meets this girl named Reze, who at first he thinks is in love with him because he's just been manipulated his whole life. He doesn't know what anything is. He takes any bit of attention as someone being interested, which for his situation is valid. And then turns out that she was just using him, getting in his good graces to be able to eventually take his chainsaw heart for whatever reason. And that's literally the gist of the movie. But it goes so much deeper in that with the way that they play and perform with the different angles and the shots and the cinematography and mainly the choreography of the movement of these characters. It's just something that is so special, it's something unlike anything I've ever seen before in anime. let alone in an anime movie, let alone just an anime production in general. It, like, there's so many like panels that you could tell. There's so many moments where you could tell, like, I'm looking at a manga panel right now. You know what? In that type of like way that they're framed. And I really, really loved it. Like, I didn't think reading the manga, the arc was decent, was good. And I enjoyed the story, but and the fight scenes were great and all that, but it wasn't anything that was like hell yeah. Like, it furthered the plot of Chainsaw Man. It gave us a little bit further insight into Denji's like psychology, but it wasn't anything insane. This movie was something insane in the way that it, fuck it, I'm getting to the animation, bro. The smoothness and the colors and the sakuga and the smear frames and the fight choreography and the impact frames, I'm gonna say it again, and the colors, like, it just oozes. And then when they played the ending, the third ending theme song, when Denji was coming out of the car after Aki picked him up, like, yes, just yes. It's everything that I've wanted and more. Everything that I needed and more. In terms of animation, the thing I love the most when they were really getting into the fight and stuff, after the first time you hear boom. And Beam is the GOAT, by the way. I hate that they mistreat my boy Beam. He's goated. Without him, what would have happened? Everyone would have got clapped. If you really think about it. Without Beam, Chainsaw Man would have ended right then and there. Just saying. But anyway, when you hear boom for the first time, and then shit just pops off and it never slows down, the perspective shots that they did with Bomb Girl, with Reze, are legit some of the most creative things I've seen. With the way that they would like pause and then like have her snap and then it would linger on the bullet and then it would travel and explode or whatever. Or like when she was charging up, which was in the trailer, when she was charging up her fist in the building and uppercuts him. Like, this shit reminded me of the best parts of Sukuna versus Jogo and Sukuna versus Maharaga. And just came all over the screen. If these people, this team, is doing the next season, which, depending on the pacing and what they do, next season could be the last one for Chainsaw Man. This next season might be one of the most well-animated things, period. Even better than Demon Slayer, overall. Because if they keep the themes, or not the themes, if they keep the themes, I guess. If they keep those colors, okay, bro. If they keep those colors, the art direction and the character designs as faithful as they have to Fujimoto's work in this particular movie, I don't even know what to say in terms of what season 2 is going to look like, because there are so many intricate moving parts in some moments in season 2 that, in terms of like art, that seeing that shit animated is gonna be on a literal different level. And I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. Honestly, if we're being for real, I would wait more time and they could give me 2 more movies. If it looks the way that this arc did, with the amount of action that's gonna be coming up, give me 2 movies. And I'll wait 3 years for another movie for the next part, that if it looks like this. As long as it's paced well, and depending on the arc that they start on, or the arc that they end on and all that, I need this team, the people that worked on this, to work on anything Chainsaw Man related for the rest of however long they work on Chainsaw Man. The clothing animation, when Aki was dealing with the typhoon devil, when they were dealing with that, and the wind is blowing, the particle effects, Aki's clothing, the angel's clothing, that was so beautiful that, like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And then, not to mention, when Denji's riding Beam, which sounds crazy, when Denji's riding Beam, and then they tear up and then when they're flying through the sky, the smear frames were just straight up like genuinely insane. Like you could still follow everything, but they were smeared so smoothly that like it was like clear blurriness. And then when they're fucking up the Typhoon Devil and then he goes through him, and then we get the color, the splash page or splash panel, whatever you want to call it, with the colors from the manga cover, I nearly dropped my popcorn. It was so overwhelming to the point where I didn't know what to do with myself. I really like how Fujimoto did the whole country versus city mouse thing, and they did a good job adapting it in the movie from the perspectives of all the different characters. And it once again drives home the point, or the importance of Fujimoto's symbolism in his works, because it's not just with this Fire Punch, Look Back, like he's very heavily not only into the movie references and things like that, like the pop culture, but also the symbolism in his works and his stories. And in Chainsaw Man, it arguably shines the most because it's like the most popular, because it's on like a grander scale. Like if I hadn't read the manga before this, I would go to rewatch the movie just to catch things that I didn't catch before, in terms of like not flashbacks, foreshadowing. Because there was honestly a lot of it, like I was mentioning with the symbolism of the spider web and all that. Like you could go back and like put two and two together and be like, oh, this could mean this and all that, which is really helps the rewatchability and the overall like palatability of the show or the series or whatever. I'm shocked, for lack of a better word, because I knew Demon Slayer. I don't mean to bring it back to compare it to Demon Slayer, but I knew Demon Slayer was gonna be well animated and be good, and I was really looking forward to the Akaza backstory, right? But with this, I expected it to have good animation because season 1's animation was good, but I did not expect them to go to this extent in terms of being faithful to Fujimoto's vision and really going balls to the wall with the music, the actual artistry of the backgrounds, the CGI blending and all that. I really did not expect them to go as hard as they did, and thank God that they did, because this shit was incredible, and it earned 100 million as of me making this, and it's in the top 30 grossing movies of this year, which is insane considering that Demon Slayer is also up here, 2 anime movies. Like, anime is global. And I'm gonna make a little separate TikTok about this, but the recent stuff with anime in the past few months has really reminded me why I loved watching anime, because I had been through a lull with it because I watched a ton when I first started watching it, and watching like the Demon Slayer movie, the recent season of My Hero, and now this, I think I've fallen back in love with anime and like the manga culture and all that. Like, and coming up, we have JJK, stacked team. Art once again looks insane there, incredible. We have Free Ren, season 2. Free Ren was beautiful. We have the end of Fire Force, which I'm really excited to see what the hell was going on based off of that cliffhanger that we got. Those are the things that are coming to mind right now. And of course, Demon Slayer down the road and all that. I love Chainsaw Man in general. It is not just a gooner anime. It is actually, it's not as deep as people are saying, but when people are just calling it a gooner anime, then that causes people to be like, it's deeper than it is. But it's a well-structured story. And it's fucking peak.